Hello, my name is Spencer Payne, and I am our Orlando Magic reporter as well as our UCF sports reporter here at FL Teams. And I'm coming on here to discuss the Orlando Magic's struggling start to the 2025-2026 season. Many Magic fans, myself included, believe that this season would be different than previous seasons for the Magic, and that we would be making a deep playoff run for the first time since our finals appearance at the end of the 2000s. But it has been a really rough road to start. Through 10 games, the Magic are 4-6 and have really looked rough to start off the season. And this is shocking to me. We have faced a lot of teams that do not have their stars. We faced the Hawks without Kristaps Porzingis, and then we faced the Hawks without Trae Young. One of those games, the first one, we actually did not face Zachary Ricochet either. We faced the Celtics, who do not have Jason Tatum, and obviously traded away a lot of their star pieces and key assets this offseason. We also faced the Sixers without young guard Jared McCain, star center, though injured, Joel Embiid, and Paul George. And we have faced a lot of teams that are pretty depleted. And some of our wins also come off of depleted rosters, like the opening day game against the Miami Heat. The Heat were without their star guard, Tyler Hero. So this season has been a rough stretch for the Magic, no doubt about it. This new fast-paced offense, though it can be very explosive, can also be explosive in a negative way, resulting in turnovers. Now, obviously, it's a completely new offense for the Magic to run, a new offensive coordinator and shooting coaches around to try and fix the three-point shooting percentage from the Magic. That was the worst in the league and one of the worst in the last 15 years, since the Bobcats in their single-digit win season. Um, and really, it's just been hard to get open shots. There hasn't been a lot of play creating and running set plays, especially for Desmond Bane, who we traded away our future, traded away 4 first-round picks. Obviously, a struggling Contavious Caldwell Pope, who did not work out for the Magic, and veteran guard Cole Anthony, who, alongside Jalen Suggs and Mo Wagner, was really the heart and soul of the Orlando Magic. Now, obviously, Cole had his ups and downs last season. He would have games like the Miami game where he would go on a heater, and then he would have games where he would go 5 for 18 for shooting and shoot us out of a game. And obviously, he's playing well in Milwaukee. Wish him the best of luck. A Magic great for a lot of these teams that were not great, and I credit him for turning around this culture. But now the Magic are lacking their identity. Their defense, which was what they hung their hats on last season, you would see it's like old school basketball games where a team is winning with only 100 points and their opponent was scoring in double digits. That's rare in the modern NBA. It happened a lot of times last season for the Magic, and this season they've already had more games where they've allowed 130 points or more. And it really seems like this pace is too quick for this team because the Magic have 3 guys in their starting rotation over 6'10". Even though Paolo and Franz play the 3 and the 4, um, that doesn't mean they're small enough to run that. And I'm not saying they're slow because they're not. They're also just not the Pacers, which I feel like this team is trying to emulate, especially defensively, trying to create more opportunities offensively, take quick shots, and run, 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 which this team can't really do. Um, Now, obviously, your big runner, Jalen Suggs, has been on a minutes restriction and isn't playing on back-to-backs, but he'll work his way up there. But he's not been the issue. When Jalen Suggs is on the court, we're a completely different team. But once you sub out those starters, it falls apart. Now, I take tonight's game. This is being filmed on November 9th, against the Boston Celtics in their second game, after beating them on Friday in the NBA Cup for their first game in the NBA Cup. Started off very well, and then you get those bench rotations in, and it collapses. Tyus Jones. I thought that he was going to be a big acquisition this offseason. 40% three-point shooter multiple times in his career. Um, Let me check his official statistics. He is shooting um, a team worst 13% from three on almost two attempts a night. Um, that's just unacceptable. He has been a net negative, both offensively. His playmaking ability is not at the caliber that it once was, and defensively, he is basically a cone. He's not really going to be doing anything. Now, having him alongside Anthony Black, who is a good defender, um, helps, but it doesn't help when he's getting blown by offensively. Um, and he can't really switch. He can't do a whole lot of anything. And tonight, AB had a really rough game. Um, minus 25 plus minus. Um, and he got 20 minutes tonight. It was rough. Um, but the Magic were right there, man. The Magic were right there until the unlikely hero Jordan Walsh hits a three, which is crazy. And um, as Jeff Turner on the broadcast said, that's the guy you want taking the shot. And he just made it. But what really stuck out to me, and is my main point about this team, is that lack of identity. In the post game, the Orlando Magic beat reporter for the Orlando Sentinel, the great Jason Bede, he said he asked Magic coach Jamal Mosley about if he was going to put in Noah Penda, who has been shaky as a rookie. Obviously, a lot of raw talent there. A little bit of a Draymond Green light situation, but asked if he thought that Penda should play more, played maybe 10 seconds in this game. And instead of saying, I think that we like the rotations there. I think, you know, Penda's still young. We can, I didn't want to put him in that spot. Um, Verbatim, Coach Mosley said 17 turnovers for 29 points. It has nothing to do with the rotation. Thank you. Now, yes, it was a rough night for those turnovers, but not addressing the fact that the rotation was blowing possessions and leads whenever the starters were off the court, whenever Paolo, Franz, and Suggs were off the court, it just completely fell apart. Not addressing that or keeping them on the court longer, at least one of them, is very telling. Um, this team collapses when one of those three aren't on the court, and it's not a slight at Bane. They're just not drawing up plays for Desmond Bane. Um, I'm pretty sure he had one three-point attempt, which he is a sharp shooter. He is a sharpshooter. He had one three-point attempt tonight. One three-point attempt. Not a single play was drawn up for him at the end of that game with you needing a three. Desmond Bane is a great three-point shooter, one of the best in this league, and he just was not getting those shots. It's been weird to see. And he's addressed it that the offense hasn't been running like that, and it's not running set plays for him all the time, and how, it's different than it was in Memphis. And that makes sense, yes. But only attempting one through night, and it wasn't because he was getting face guarded. It wasn't any of that. There just were not plays to draw up Desmond Bane, your best three-point shooter, for shots behind the arc when you need threes. It was very telling. Now, Powell had a great game. Franz had an okay game, but and Suggs had a great game. You just aren't going to win games when you're having 17 turnovers. Yes, but it was also because of the rotation. Now, Paolo had 6 turnovers of those 17, and it was rough that most of your starters had the turnovers, but it's those rotations where you see them off the court that the team just collapses. Even though he had 6 turnovers, Paolo was still a +7, you know? Suggs was a +21, Franz a +11. You go to that bench, -25 for AB, -14 for Tyus Jones, -13 for JI, and barely saw minutes for Tristan da Silva when you also needed a three, who was your only consistent 3-point shooter tonight. It was it was frustrating to see, especially when this Magic team got to the free throw line so many times and sunk so many free throws, which has got us out of games before. Just what can you do to fix the issue of the culture? Obviously, offenses can be changed, and it's a new team, a bunch of new guys in pinstripes. I get it. But this team just doesn't seem like it's bought in, doesn't seem like it has the legs to go deep. And obviously, there's 72 games left in the regular season, potentially 73 if we go on and win or attend the NBA Cup final. But this team has high aspirations. You know, the Pacers aren't going to be a super great team without Halliburton. Same with the Celtics. You know, it's a completely different Eastern Conference right now that you were projected to be at the top of. And our wins have come against an injured Miami, Charlotte, Washington, and Boston, who does not have their top star this year and is in a clear retooling year. You've had blown leads in a lot of these losses. And in a lot of these losses, you're also playing teams that don't have their stars, and you can't capitalize on that. And I'm just going to keep on harking back on the post-game presser against the Celtics. Uh, Jason again said that there were 17 turnovers for 29 points in the post-game presser on every question asked. And when Paolo was also asked about the pace and if it's affecting this team with turnovers, he answered yes without saying yes. His face said it all. And immediately after Mose left, Jalen Suggs came in and said that the turnovers he didn't really think affected this team. But when your players and your head coach are on completely different sides of it, that's not a recipe for success. It's really not. This new pace that the Magic are playing with through their 10-game sample size, they are near the middle of the pack in points per game, but they're also in the middle of the pack defensively and have a pretty shaky differential. They have a 0.2 point differential plus per game, which is 17th in the league, right on the edge of being negative. And it's not like this next stretch for Orlando gets a whole lot easier, right? The Orlando Magic schedule throughout the rest of November, it's pretty rough. A really scrappy Portland team with defenders like Tamani Kamara who can completely take your stars out of games. Then you go to New York to face the Knicks, one of the only big contenders in the East. Now you get to face Brooklyn, that's nice. But then it's a rude awakening going up against Houston. Houston's a team we don't want to face. Going up against Golden State. You know, even with Steph out, still a formidable team. The Clippers, a little bit of a shaky team, but they still have talent. Then you go against New York again. Then you go against this Boston team who just beat you. Then you go against Philadelphia, who has gotten healthier, who has already beaten you. Then you face Detroit, who has already beaten you. Then you face Chicago at the start of December, and guess what? They've already beaten you. And then you face San Antonio with Wemby. That team's great and stacked. Then you face Miami, who will probably have Hero back at that time. Then you face New York again. Then you face Denver. Then you face Utah. Then you face Golden State and Portland again. And then you face Denver and Toronto and Indiana to close out 2025. Right now, I don't know how many of those games we will win. It's been a struggle offensively, defensively, mindset wise. Seems like a lot of the players are dejected. Now, obviously, I'm not a player on the Magic. I do not speak for the Magic, but it just seems like something's really off this year. And I don't know what to fix it. I don't know I'm not calling for Coach Mosley's head. He got us through a lot of struggling years, and it seemed like he was a player's coach. And this season just seems like the players and the coaches aren't on the same page. Um, just seems like the energy's off, and it's a really rough stretch in November and December to have. Now, I don't, and it's not like there's a lot better head coaches out there. There is NBA Finals winning coach Mike Malone still out there, but he was fired from Denver for a reason. Taylor Jenkins is out there. He was fired for a reason, right? I don't know what the fix is, but this team is too talented to not be making a noise in the East. And there's been promising minutes out of Jace Richardson, was running the offense better than Tyus had, and Jace is not getting minutes. On that road stretch, we saw Penda for a while. Now he's out of the rotation, right? Tristan da Silva has played pretty darn good in his second season out of Colorado. Very solid bench production, stepping up and scoring, not getting enough time on the court. Obviously, Jalen Suggs coming back from that injury, um, not enough time on the court, and not enough plays for Bane. Paolo doesn't really get the ball until the fourth quarter, and he's probably your best playmaker as it stands. 6 turnovers tonight, but he's had multiple games where he's had 5+ assists. And coming into tonight, I'm pretty sure it's still the truth. Paolo Banchero leads the Magic in every single category, in both or in scoring, in assists, and in rebounds. Oh, Franz just overtook him, but Paolo is right up there. Both of them are averaging over 22 points a game. But, not having a true point guard hurting this team quite a bit. And what's the solution? I'm not sure. You have a lot of trade chips to go out and move, but financially we don't have the room. This is an expensive team with a very, very high aspirations, and they just have not met that. And not only as a reporter, but a Magic fan, it's been hard to see this team play like this. Um, and again, I don't know what the solution is, but I believe this team can turn it around. And I've seen teams, Magic teams that have started off 5-0 and missed the playoffs completely. And I've also seen Magic teams that started off one of the worst starts in that season and turned it around and had the first or second best second half in the NBA, right? A lot of teams can change. And I believe this team can. I believe that once Mo Wagner comes back, this team looks entirely different. Like I said, not Franz, Jalen is the spark plug on offense. He is the Energizer Bunny, as David Steele says on the broadcast all the time. He just is. And that's what Mo provides on your bench. He is sorely missed. And when he comes back, I think this team will look completely different. But what can they do now? I'll end with this. What can the Magic do right now to get better? I think running more set offense for Desmond Bane, to have him have set up shots to take his threes that he's so good at. Desmond Bane is an amazing 3-point shooter. He's averaging the lowest volume since his rookie year. We're not getting him the ball. Now, obviously, Paolo and Franz are big mouths to feed, and they will get theirs, but Bane has not gotten his. And it's not because he's the third option. They're just not running plays for him. He has really not seen a whole ton. He's averaging the third most points in the game on the team, but it just hasn't seemed like that. Like I said, tonight against Boston, only one 3-point attempt. One. When your bench was completely negative on the guard side. Bane couldn't have gotten some of those minutes to initiate the offense, to try and make threes, to try and make plays. Jace Richardson couldn't have gotten those minutes. But when asked about that, once again. 17 turnovers, 29 points. Thank you. What can they do? It's a big question. I think changing the rotation, though Mosley's not going to admit it, I believe changing this rotation will affect this team in a positive light. And I believe that getting back to defensive ball and slowing the pace down a bit, though the Magic's offense was rough last season, I believe slowing the pace down will allow the defense to get more set and to allow the offense to not turn the ball over as much. But if anyone else has any suggestions, please leave comments. I would love to continue this discussion in the comment section below. I love discussing both basketball, but specifically Magic basketball here on FL Teams. And when given the opportunity, I will ask questions. If you have any questions that you would like me to propose to either Magic players or Coach Mosley, let me know and I will try and get them asked for you. But this has been my talk on the Magic's struggle for the first 10 games of this 2025-26 NBA season. And I have been Spencer Payne. You can follow me on X or Twitter and Instagram at Payne in the Press, but also follow FL Teams here on YouTube, also on X as FL Teams, and Instagram as FL Teams, and on our site, flteams.com. You can read articles from me about the Magic or UCF, and you can read amazing articles about other Florida college teams as well as professional teams covering all around the state of Florida. So I thank you for your time, and I will check in very soon and hopefully have some good news to hear and discuss about this Orlando Magic squad.